Well, hello, this is Ken Connell with Destinies, Life Skills and Coaching Mentors, and I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that cause success in people's lives. Okay, well, hopefully you found this video because you're a life coaching client that we're working with, and this is one of the supplemental pieces of material, a video for you to look into, and these are going to be some of the things that we may be talking about in our coaching sessions. So with that, if you are a coaching client, welcome. You found the right spot. If you're not a coaching client and you found this video through some other means, maybe it's YouTube or another medium that's out there that we put this on, welcome. I hope that you will benefit from this. So this is not just for our coaching clients, it's for people that are wanting to grow and improve the quality of their life. And so with all that, let me get right into the top 10 things causing success in people's lives. All right, and with that, the number 10 thing that causes success in people's lives is successful people don't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. Another way to look at this is people that do the same thing expecting different results, they're going to experience failure. And so successful people know, don't continue to do the same thing that's not working and expect it to bring a greater result that's going to make you happier. So look at the things that you're doing. Is it working? I love to simplify these things about life coaching. You're going to see a lot of things in life coaching, and they're going to get through a lot of metaphysical and holistic and psychological and science and a lot of great info. But for me personally, I love the idea, the simplicity of the message is something that will change people. And so that's what I'm going to lay down for you, very simple things. And so look at the things that you're doing in your life. Are you happy with the results of what is taking place? Are you happy? Is it getting you to that place that you're content? You feel like you're working on your life's purpose? Because the truth is, if you want to know what's going to happen in the future for you, here's a real simple litmus test, if you will, that you can do. Look at the future and kind of decide on what you see success as. But in order to do that, look at the past, the decision-making processes, the way that you came to conclusions, the things that you did, all of those activities. If you repeat those in the future, just like you did the past, then the past in your life is going to repeat itself. If you like that and it's a good thing, that's awesome. However, if you don't, one of the things that is going to bring failure into people's lives is to continue to do the same thing and hope that something different is going to take place. So in other words, to be successful, don't continue doing the same thing, expecting a different result. The number 9 thing that brings success into successful people's lives, successful people know what they want out of life. They're not double-minded with all kinds of different things, following every whim. They jump in things quickly. They also jump out of them just as quickly. And so they know what they want. They envision success. They think about, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. I'm not going to be tempted to go do all of these other things because I'm already doing a great thing. So they make decisions about what they want and then they run with it. There's an old proverb that says that a double-minded person is unstable in everything that they do. So we have to make some quality decisions. This is what I want to do. This is what I will pay. This is the price, the sacrifice that I'm willing to make. And so that is something that's going to cause success, is by making decisions about what we want, coming up with a plan for it, pursuing that plan, and then paying the price. And so success will come by you deciding what it is that you really want. Remember, failure will come if you can't figure it out, what it is that you want. So success comes by knowing what you want. All right, and the number 8 thing that's bringing success into successful people's lives, they don't waste resources. Successful people do not waste resources. Okay, well, what's a resource? Resources and the definition and description of those things can be pretty big. Of course, it's money. That by no means is the greatest resource that you have available to you. I personally think that money is a great resource, but one of the most unsung heroes in our own lives are the lives experiences that we've had. And the older that you get, the more those lives experiences that you've got. And so those are untapped resources, and sometimes. So I want to encourage you, look at the resources that you've got, not just your money, but your education, your knowledge. Hopefully you're not one of those folks that's frustrated because they spent all of this time, money, and exercise, that commitment, in order to get a degree at one of the universities or colleges, and you spend $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to get that degree, only to find out at the end of that, not only you're not using or being paid in that, you're not even in the same field as what that degree is. But still, I want you to see that you've got some untapped resources in those life experiences to get that degree. Other things to look at for resources would be the relationships that you've got. Business relationships, personal relationships, connections. The whole thing of not just what you know, but who do you know? Incredible resource right there. So look at the resources that you've got at your hand. Are you wasting them? Or are you capitalizing on spending your money effectively, spending your time effectively on what you want to do instead of what everybody else wants you to do? Making sure that you are paying in and developing rapport with meaningful relationships from influential people. Those are great ways to bring success, because successful people don't waste resources. And the number 7 thing that brings success into people's lives, successful people work hard at the right thing. In other words, people that are experiencing failure, when they really look deep, they're going to find out they're working hard at the wrong thing. So examine the things that you're setting your heart to and setting your hand to and all of your resources. Is this a cause for you? Is this something that's really important for you? Are you one of those folks, believe it or not, every one of us is a dream builder. My question to you is, which dream builder are you? Because we go through the course of the life and we're always working on building a dream. What a lot of people wake up and see one day is all this time they've been working on somebody else's dream instead of their dream. Now, if your dream is to help somebody with their dream, outstanding. I love it. But if your dream is not being realized, you're no closer to your dream today than you were last week or last year, you look at what you're working on. It's probably the wrong thing. So examine the thing you're working on. Is it a part of your cause? What is your cause? Is it a part of your life purpose? That's a whole segment by itself right there. Do the things that you're doing and find yourself caught up in, are those things that in the big scope and picture of your life, are they getting you where you want to go? Could you say that I'm really happy at what I'm setting my hand to, because while the progress may be short, at least I'm pointed in the direction that I want to go, and I have a vision for in the future where this is going to take me. And so I know I'm working on the right thing, because successful people work on the right thing. All right, and the number 6 thing that brings success into people's lives, successful people do not refuse help from the right people. On the contrary, they will embrace it and open it up. A recent example of that was at the end of the Super Bowl. We saw the winning quarterback, Peyton Manning, who had just been grilled and hammered constantly in the press about, are you retiring? Are you stopping? Is this your last year? Where are you going? Everybody wanted to know what Peyton Manning was doing. And Peyton shared his story at the end of winning the Super Bowl that showed he received help from the right people, because he shared a story that he learned from, I believe it was Coach Tony Dungy, when Manning was being coached by him. And Peyton Manning said that Dungy had taught him, when you're in the midst of a very emotional time in your life, don't be quick to make decisions. And Peyton took that to heart, and so he didn't make any decisions during those emotional times. And so that's just one little snippet of refusing, or not refusing help from the right people. And so look at your life. How many people have been coming into your life occasionally, and they've had words of wisdom for you, little insights that could have made a huge difference? What are your antennas like? Are they up and receiving from these folks, or have you built that wall, keeping everybody out? You know, That is one of the quickest roads to instability and failure, is when people are, unknowing to them, practicing an element of being unteachable. And so then all they're going to go on is existing resources and knowledge and skills that they've got. They're never going to break beyond that comfort zone. So look at yourself and the things that are going on. Are you receiving help from the right people? That's one of the keys too, is make sure it's the right people. Be conscientious. Have a mindset of who is speaking into your life. Pay attention to that, because the truth is, successful people receive help from the right people. The other side is, people that experience failure are constantly rejecting help from the right people. So you want to be successful? Receive help from the right people. And the number 5 thing that brings success into people's lives: successful people do not consistently associate with people that drain them. People that drain them will suck all the life out of them, takes all the wind out of their sails. Here's an example. Years ago I learned the story about the Frankfurters. There's 2 kinds of Frankfurters in the world. You got the Frankfurter, and they're representative of people, of us. Each one of us is one of those Frankfurters. And so you got a Frankfurter that walks into the room. This person walks into the room. It's like they just suck all the air, all the life just comes out of that room. They've got all kinds of reasons why we can't do this, you can't do that, no, this is going to fail, and they're just, it's like they're covered with a cloud of gloom and doom, and there's just no life oozing from them. And they just drain everybody around them. Those Frankfurters are what we passionately call weenies. Then you got the other kind of Frankfurter. This is a Frankfurter that they show up, bam. Everybody kind of gravitates to them because they're very positive. They're not talking about all the problems and things. You know, there's 3 kinds of minds in the world out there. You got the great minds that are talking about ideas. You got the average minds that are talking about things. Then you got the small minds that are always talking about people. So you got to make a decision. Which one of those are you going to operate in? And so as a Frankfurter out there, walk into that room, have ideas. Be the solution person, not the problem person. Have a smile on your face. Bring a positive energy into that place. Everybody will naturally gravitate to that positive person. And at the end of the day, they put a smile on people's faces, not a frown. People like to hang out with them. And those Frankfurters are definitely known as the hot dogs. So when you teach people that story, ask them real quick, are you going to be a hot dog or are you going to be a weenie today? What have you been in the course of your life? Hot dogs are the ones that see the successes. Weenies never seem to get to that point of success. And so hot dogs do not constantly hang out with people that drain them. They hang out with people that revitalize them and encourage them. And so the number 5 thing that causes success in your life is for you to choose to hang out with people that do not drain you. The other side, if you hang out with people that drain you constantly, you're going to find that it brings failure. So don't. Okay? Choose to hang out with people that do not drain you. And the number 4 reason that brings success into successful people's lives: successful people do not give in to temptation. Now, some of that is because in their mind's eye, they've made a decision about where they're wanting to go, what they want to do. They've got a purpose, they've got a cause, and so these other temptations don't drag them off into the sticks, if you will, as easily, because they know where they're going, and they've got boundaries set on themselves about what they can do, where they can go, who they'll hang out with, and so they don't give in to these temptations quickly. This reminds me of a man that was an incredible inspiration in my life years ago. I learned this valuable lesson from him. He was actually a very, very profound influencer. He spoke to many world leaders, many community leaders, and he inspired literally thousands and tens of thousands of people were inspired by this man's life and his messages. I happened to be at a conference where he was speaking one time, and there was a break in the conference, and I noticed he went back behind the stage, and nobody else was going back there, and I thought, oh man, I want to capitalize on this as possible. And so I snuck out back behind the stage, and I saw him standing back there. And I thought to myself, oh, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I am not going to give up on this opportunity. I'm going to capitalize on this and go speak to this man, because I, for one, want to receive help from the right people. He was the right people. And so I got back behind her, and I saw him refreshing and getting a drink of water and something. And so I just walked up to him and said, Dave, can I speak to you for just a second? And I wanted to talk to him because he had been in so many situations other people were in, and they failed. They gave in to the temptations. They gave in to the things that brought their little industries down because they gave in. Well, Dave was in the same industry, and he did not give in to these temptations. And I wanted to find out, how in the world did this man do that? So I catch him behind the stage. Say, Dave, can you take just a minute and speak with me? And just wholeheartedly, he said, well, absolutely, come on over. What can I do to help you? He was so willing to help. And I just asked him, I said, Dave, how do you not get into temptation that so many other people in your industry get involved with, only to find their demise at the end of this, and it completely destroys the great work that they thought they were doing? They gave in to temptation. Dave, how do you not give in to temptation? And his response really set me back. Because he just looked at me, and he's just a filled with charisma kind of character. I loved everything he had to say. And he just looked at me, and he said, brother, I make my decisions before the fact. And he just stood there and smiled at me. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay. Can you explain that to me? And he said, making my decisions before the fact when it comes to temptation is very simple. In my mind's eye, I will experience some type of temptation before it's ever happened, and I'll make my decision long before I'm ever encountered with it of what I'm going to do when that happens. So I've made my decision about abusing alcohol and drugs. I've made my decision about abusing the funds that I've been entrusted with. I've made my decision about what I'm going to do with my marriage vows. I've made my decision about the representation and the character that I'm going to have while I'm here. And he just went on to expound all these things about, I've made my decision before the fact. And that was a great source of inspiration for me. And so it helped me realize, before I'm ever tempted with some things, I need to go through that mind's journey, make my decision before the fact. And so that was one way that adds great level of success to people that are successful. They don't give in to temptation. They've made their decisions before the fact. So think about the things you're tempted with. What do you need to make a decision about right now that I'm not going to get involved with tomorrow? Or I am going to get involved? I don't know, but it's a temptation thing. Because successful people do not give in to temptation. And the number 3 thing that successful people practice that brings them success, they do not blame other people. They recognize moi here is the most controlling person in moi's life, and for me to blame anybody else is to empower them instead of myself. And so successful people don't blame people. And here's a really interesting thing. Even if other people are at fault, the successful people are not going to hound on, it was your fault, you're to blame. They may touch on it and move on, but they're not going to stand there and constantly blame other people for failures. They're going to recognize that they need changes in their life. It's going to come from within them more so than any other person on the face of the planet. Because when it comes to this concept and understanding of free will, nobody has the right to cross our will individually. And so we do not want anybody else trying to impose on that. And so we don't want to do that with other people by blaming them. Recognize that by blaming other people, you take all of the power out of your life and you give it back to them. And they can't be responsible with it because they don't know all the ins and the outs of your life. They don't know my life. And so blaming them does not make the problem any better. How many times you blame somebody and it fixed the problem? Yeah, that's what I thought. It doesn't blame anybody. All it does is build greater walls in relationships, because blame has that certain element of condemnation where you're not trying to restore people, it's trying to blame people and beat them down with their poor decisions or consequences, and it's not trying to find a solution to the problem. So look seriously about that. Successful people do not blame other people. And the number two thing that brings success into people's lives is successful people do not make excuses. Now, we've all been to those meetings. I've done it. We've seen it where we go to a meeting and we're 10, 15 minutes late. What's the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth? It's an excuse. It comes in the form of, oh, the traffic was terrible. My kids, my husband, my wife, whatever circumstance, it always comes off in the form of an excuse. Okay, what happens at that moment? Inside of the room, everybody realizes that this is an excuse because they just came into that traffic a few minutes ago themselves. They know what it was like, and yet they made it on time. And so you start putting that wall a little higher. You build that wall with each excuse separating you from the people that you want to have a contact or a relationship with, because it builds resentment inside of other people. It is completely pushing off responsibility from myself and onto other people. So when we make excuses, when you make excuses, you're alienating people, because deep down inside, everybody in the room hates to hear that excuse, because they know the truth is this is an excuse, and you were just lousy at your time management, and you didn't give us enough priority in your life to leave on time, and so now you're going to subject us to your poor time management skills. Plus, the other thing inside is as soon as that excuse comes out of your mouth, what happens to you? Inside, you're thinking, that was a really dumb excuse. Oh, can't believe I did that. And so now you hear hardly anything going on in a meeting because you're wondering, is my face really that red? They're all looking at me. Oh man, they all know this is flimsy. And so you got all these monkeys, these mind monkeys dealing with you about this idea of making excuses. And so examine yourself. As you convey a message to somebody about a difficult circumstance involving one of your choices, is it coming forth in the form of a excuse, or is it a legitimate reason? Legitimate reasons are completely different than excuses. And so recognize, successful people do not make excuses. All right, the number one thing that brings success into people's lives, what do you think it is? Come up with something, and the truth is, all of us have experienced this. The number one thing that brings success into people's lives is they do not procrastinate. And so one of the greatest things bringing failure into people's lives is when they procrastinate. And I'll be transparent with you for a moment here. At one point in my life, moi here was the king of procrastination. I'm 30 years self-employed, and so in some of the businesses I had, years ago when I was a young man, first becoming an entrepreneur and learning this business thing, I had a thing where I wanted to do the technical side of the business, but I didn't want to do the administration side. I didn't want to do the accounting or the books, the taxes. I'd just soon get my hands on, but I didn't want to get my brain in. And so I hated it. I developed this animosity in myself about, I can't stand tax season. I don't want to do this. This sucks. I hate this. And so from December 31st until April 15th, it was a terrible season for me. Anger would come up, procrastination. I'd feel guilty about the procrastination, and just all kinds of negative energy would flow from me and also would affect other people. And I finally felt terrible about it because I was the guy that was mailing my taxes or filing my taxes on April 14th at 11:59, if you will. It was always late from what I wanted to do. So one year I decided, Ken, this is foolish. You're acting like an idiot. Deal with this thing. Just do it. And so I made a quality decision that year that I am done doing the procrastination thing. I want my taxes done by January 31st. I wanted the business taxes done, my own private taxes, I wanted the corporation, I wanted everything done in a timely fashion. And so I did the eating an elephant thing where I would just chew at it a little bit of time. Instead of having these great big marathon accounting sessions, which I hated, I would just nibble away at it, plugging away, doing a little bit here, doing a little bit there. And it was a miraculous experience when January 31st came and I filed. Everything was done. And it totally changed my life because the monkey of guilt was gone. I didn't look to that season as I hate this season. I actually began to turn it around and, wow, I kind of like this season, man. The snow is falling, all this stuff is going on, and I actually get to enjoy a whole bunch of things in my life. And it was such a freeing moment for me to get rid of procrastination because it lasted longer than a moment. It was absolutely rewarding for me to get rid of that and experience the joy and the freedom that came from getting rid of procrastination. And so it was a big impacting moment for me to do this. And so from that time on, I decided procrastination is not going to be a big part of my life. Yes, it's come back and I've had to deal with it and put it down on a few occasions, but it's so much easier now because once you get victory over some giant in your life, he's not so big the next time. It's not so easy to get you all bound up to no action. Once you defeat it, I encourage people to face your fear. Go face that thing and deal with it because when you do that, the next thing in your life that comes up that looks like that fear, it's not going to be nearly as big. And it's going to be so much easier for you to deal with because you've got victory in your past. And so something that will bring success into your life is going to be making a conscious decision not to procrastinate. Because procrastination will bring failure. The other side, and then this on a positive note, not procrastinating will be a great step towards you succeeding. All right, so real quickly, let me review all those things that are going to bring success or failure into your lives. The number 10 thing would be success will come by not doing the same thing, expecting different results. Failure will come by doing the same thing and expecting something to change. The number 9 thing is going to be deciding what you want. Success will come by knowing what you want. The number 8 thing causing success is going to be don't waste resources. People that fail consistently waste their resources. The number 7 thing that's going to cause success, you choose to work on the right thing, not the wrong thing. The number 6 thing that's going to cause success, receive help from the right people. Failure comes by rejecting help from the right people. And the number 5 thing that's going to cause success is don't associate with people that constantly drain you. And the number 4 things that's going to cause success, don't give in to temptation. Yes, it's that easy in many, many cases. Our problem is always this big. Whatever size of your thinking, that's the size of your problem. It's an idea problem. The number 3 thing that's going to cause success is don't blame other people. Do not blame other people. The number 2 thing that will bring success into your life is don't make any excuses. Stop with the excuses. And the number 1 thing that's going to lead to success in your life, don't procrastinate. Procrastination brings failure. The opposite of that is going to be some type of action which is going to lead you to a place that you're going to find greater happiness and joy at. No procrastination. So those are the top 10 things that bring success or failure. Look at your life, figure out which one or two that you might want to focus on. That just happens to be my top 10 list. What is your top 10 list? Figure out a plan of action for one or two of those things. I guarantee you it'll change your life, because those are some of the secret principles that lead people into success and reject failure. If you have found this video from YouTube or any other means like that, and there's an ability to hit the like button, please do that. More so, leave a comment either on a YouTube page, or possibly just shoot me an email, a comment about, did you get anything out of this one thing? And I'd love to hear feedback, because our goal is to help people. So I'll leave you some contact information on how you can contact us in the graphics up here. And so I'm Ken Connell, and I'm a part of Destinies, Life Skills, and Coaching Mentors. We're here to help people and to make differences in their life. And so please check out our webpage. You might find some other resources on there that you could benefit from. And so just go to www.Destinies, Life Skills, and Coaching Mentors. Squeeze it all together, no spaces. You can contact us through that. We're happy to help. Give us a phone call. We do a lot of other things trying to help people with one-on-one life coaching, small groups, small seminars. We do different assessments, MBTI, which is the Myers-Briggs personality assessments, well-being assessments, other activities. So we've got quite a host of things to help people with life coaching situations, both in person, one-on-one, and also over the telephone. So please, by all means, take advantage of the resources that we've got. You might find some tools in what we're doing that are really able to help you.